Hey everybody, welcome back to Paramystic Christina. I am your host, Christina Bloom. I'm here with my friend Jack Chavez, and we are going to have a talk about whatever the heck we feel like talking about. Um, in the meantime, remember to hit that subscribe button, follow, like, share, because I'm sure this is going to be we always have interesting conversations, so I know it's going to be a very interesting conversation. And so, hey Jack, how you doing?
Hey, Christina, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, we kind of put this together last minute, which is fun because
Yeah.
then there's nothing scripted. We're just like, yeah, let's just jump in and talk. So
The best things are done last minute, you
they
know?
kind of are. Yeah, yeah, I agree
Kind of
with
like when I
you.
have the little presentation to do and I just get to it last minute. It
Right?
usually goes good.
See,
So,
there you go. Don't have to memorize a thing. So what have you been up to lately?
oh man, we just passed you know, um Halloween season. So
Right.
I've been doing a lot of tours and a lot of presentations, and that's kind of been filling up my time these past several weeks. Even into November, I was doing a lot as well, kind of more the same presentations. It's been a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, a lot of reading, but that's what I've been doing. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Cool.
How
That's
about
awesome.
you?
I have been doing a lot of fairs and expos. I
Oh,
like almost every weekend. I've been doing them. This past weekend, I actually had the weekend off, and I
yeah.
didn't really know what to do with myself.
No.
Like, what do I do? I'm not working. What do I do? But yeah, it gave me a chance to dive into some creative projects that I've been working on and or putting off working on because I haven't had time to do it. So it's been good. Just kind of jumping into more working. I'm teaching myself how to make graphics.
Oh, okay.
So I put some time into that this weekend, learning how to make graphics for marketing purposes or whatever. So
Well, you're gonna have to show me because I need to learn how to do that,
I'm
actually.
telling you, Canva is my friend.
Okay, Canva. I heard about Canva.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Canva is my friend, absolutely. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of fairs. Been doing a lot of channeling lately. I don't know, do you trance channel?
No,
No?
no.
Oh, buddy, you're missing out.
You're asking, do I channel?
Yeah, do you channel?
Oh no, I wish I did. No.
I can teach you how. It's not that hard. Really, the hardest part is just learning to trust. Learning to trust that your body is going to be taken care of when you're not in it.
Now, have you heard of trans-species communication?
Yes.
Yeah, I know you do it. I just wasn't sure
Yeah.
if you were aware of that term because I only obviously I've been in the paranormal for quite a while, but I just came across that term, maybe just a few years ago. But for the people that have never heard of it before, it's trans-species communication is really just that. It's telepathically or telepathically communicating with non-human entities. And
Okay.
you actually did that for me at my convention. You said that I had a
Yes.
um, Bigfoot entity that was around me, and that fascinated me because I have gotten readings, down the years,
Hmm.
and I never heard anybody, no psychic had ever told me that I had a Bigfoot,
Yeah.
around me.
A guard.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
A guardian. Yeah. He takes care of you.
Yeah.
He keeps you from getting hurt when you're, stumbling through dark places looking for spirits.
Now, what's really interesting too is you also gave a reading to my friend Rob, and you told him that there was a Bigfoot from the Upper Peninsula that was trying to contact him.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about that, I don't know if he told you during the session, but what's really interesting about that is that he had been to the Upper Peninsula, I believe it was a year ago, and he had mentioned it recently to me, saying that, man, I really want to go back. And he's a big Bigfoot guy.
Hmm. I
He's
remember
really
him telling
into
me that.
yeah, he's into cryptozoology.
Yeah.
And then so he was really taken aback when you said that because he's all like, he told me, he's like, there's no way she could have known that I was in the Upper Peninsula, recently. So I thought
Yeah.
that was awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, he
Yeah.
looked a little surprised when I said that. I do remember the look on his face, like, how did you know?
Right.
It was almost like, wait, wait, wait. Did Jack tell you? And I'm like, no.
It's something that him
Yeah,
and I still talk about
that's
because,
awesome.
yeah, it is awesome. He really got a kick out of that. Like he'll bring it up from time to time, and he'll be like, something to the effect of like, trying to rationalize it, like, well, maybe, this or that. And I told him, I'm like, why can't you just accept
Yeah,
that he's into paranormal too? But I'm like, why
yeah.
can't you just accept that like there are people that have this ability, it's rare. I think if you might agree with me, I'm not sure. Um, even channelers can't necessarily channel various species. A lot
Right.
of times it seems like um, the channelers that we usually deal with are just like human, like deceased loved ones, people that have passed on, but not like, aliens and Bigfoot and, non-human entities.
I think that there are a fair amount, at least I've been seeing a fair amount of channelers who do channel like ETs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really
yeah.
fascinating.
It is. What I find most fascinating is that all of us who do channel ETs, we all pretty much come back with the same messages, right? It pretty much is, peace on earth and we're watching and please don't blow yourselves up.
Right. So do you channel aliens as well?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Pleiadians.
Okay. And so th those are the messages that they give you?
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting.
What I have found really interesting, and I'm going to put down my own species here, is that when a being of light comes through and I'm channeling, and it's usually something that's set up, so there's people there that can ask questions. Most of the time, people are interested in very personal things,
Okay.
very, very personal. I'm sorry, the ETs, that's not their gig.
Yeah.
They're not here to do personal readings. They're not here to do mediumship. They're here to share global messages. They're here to share, what's going to happen with mankind, what's going to happen with humanity, what's going to happen, how can we help you to get through what you're going through with this 5D ascension. That's what their focus is. It's not individual. And I find it really interesting that most people ask very personal, individual questions.
Yeah. Yeah. Because most people are selfish. That's all. Like
I don't
me,
know.
I would ask that question.
You would.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, okay, okay, I understand what's happening in the world, but let's get back to me. What's going on there?
I do find that interesting because I do other kinds of readings where that's completely appropriate. But yeah, when I'm channeling, usually it's something bigger than individual.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Next time I get a reading from you, I'm actually gonna see if we could channel some an alien entity. I think that'd be pretty neat, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting because they're so much smarter than I am. And so if I just get out of the way and I let them talk, it's just interesting how the stuff that they bring through. But
Mm.
I really like channeling because basically the only work I have to do is just stay out of the way.
Yeah,
They do everything else. So, that's why I said you're missing out because if you can just allow yourself to move over and let them use your voice, it's it's easy.
it'll be like listening to an audiobook.
Kind of, yeah.
They
Kind
just
of.
go on and on.
Yep, you just have to stay out of the way. That's the hardest part
Yeah,
because sometimes they'll say something that I might not agree with, and then I want to jump in and have a discussion, and it's like, nope, can't do that right now. Let them
yeah.
talk. They've got the floor. But yeah.
I interviewed a gentleman a couple of years ago. Um, he was he communicated with various beings as well, and he said that Bigfoot is in urban areas, but they're just, consistently invisible. in urban areas.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
And yeah, I thought that was really interesting too. And the author, paranormal author Nick Redfern, actually has a really interesting um story. And it's actually one of my favorite stories of his. He said that this took place in the 80s, and it was a girl that was having a sleepover with a couple of her friends. And as teenagers do, played the Ouija board. And they said nothing at first happened, but afterwards, you know, things like the house basically became haunted. And long story short is each succeeding day, the house was, more and more haunted. And she was hearing all these screeching right outside her window. And in the final nights, there was a form that that started to take shape in her bedroom. And when it became more and more manifested and drew closer to her, she said that it was actually a Bigfoot, and that
Hmm.
this Bigfoot went up to her and said, basically warned her never to play the Ouija board again. And then it
Wow.
disintegrated, and after that, all the hauntings stopped.
Wow. I have
Yeah,
goosebumps. Thank you.
no, it was.
Yeah.
I do too. I think about it, and if I
Yeah.
ever meet Nick Redfern, um, a great writer, prolific author, I'm going to ask him about that story because it's, I think the implication with that story is that Bigfoot saved her.
Yes.
Bigfoot saved her from these malevolent entities that had invaded her home. And all Bigfoot had to do was, appear and everything was gone. But then there's like, if you read between the lines, there must have been some sort of invisible battle that took place unbeknownst to that girl. Maybe, how there must have been some sort of way that Bigfoot, vanquished all the hauntings in the
You would
house,
think so. Yeah.
right? I mean, that I'm fascinated by that idea. Like, what went on in that story that we didn't see, you know?
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah, that's
really,
interesting.
yeah,
Huh.
right?
And I know Bigfoot to be a protector, a
Yeah,
guardian. Um, so I'm not really surprised that a Bigfoot would have showed up and said, "I'm protecting you, but you can't keep calling this stuff in. You got to stop."
yeah. There seems to be clans, I don't know if that's the correct term, clans of Bigfoot that are not as benevolent.
Right.
I mean, there are many stories of people being kidnapped by Bigfoot.
Really?
And oh
Okay, I
yeah,
have not read those stories.
yeah, yeah, there's definitely stories of people being kidnapped by Bigfoot and taken to like a secluded location. And there was the details escape me, but it was a woman who was on an expedition, and she she woke up in her sleeping bag like being dragged away, and she spent some time with the Bigfoot. It was like Bigfoot family,
Hmm.
and then she finally managed to get away, and you know she lived to tell the tale. But it was really interesting. There was also another gentleman who said that he was kidnapped very similarly by what he thinks was a male Bigfoot, a female Bigfoot, and a child Bigfoot.
Okay.
And he actually spent a couple days with them. And he talked about how they communicate with each other through grunts. And finally, he was able to get away. He was able to finally get to his gun, and then he shot at one of them, and that gave him enough time to run away. And yeah, so there are
Wow.
there are stories like that. I mean, obviously they didn't hurt him, but it's like why did they kidnap him? You know what I'm saying? Why did Bigfoot
Hmm.
kidnap a couple of these people?
Yeah. I don't know, maybe to show them that they're just living. They're, you know what I mean? Like they're not necessarily there to hurt anybody, but I don't know. I don't know why they would have done that.
That's actually a good point that I actually didn't think about, that maybe they just felt like those people were were worthy enough to show that Bigfoot is just, another type of people,
Right.
So I don't
Interesting.
know. But yeah, it is pretty interesting. I'm really interested in stories that are like not just like traditional paranormal stories, but they have a high strangeness bent to them.
That's what we're doing here, man. High strangeness.
Like,
This is the high strangeness part of Zone 5 radio, you know? That's actually what it's called, high strangeness. So,
oh, I
yeah.
didn't know.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's I love talking about things like just as a normal conversation because there are so many encounters that people have, and you're in touch with so many people
Yeah.
who have these stories to share. And the Bigfoot thing is very close to my heart because I've had a Bigfoot guardian my whole life. I saw him like kind of move fast in front of me very quickly, but it protected me from being hurt. And it wasn't like stopping and, having a fight or something. It was just like this big energy that moved through. And I mean, and I could see like the reddish brown hair, and I could see that it was really big. But I didn't get an introduction. I didn't get to have a conversation. All I knew was that what was coming at me stopped,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
and I was safe. And so I was pretty little when that happened. I'm gonna say maybe 6 or 7 when I saw that. So I've always known that I was protected, and I still know that I'm protected. And recently we were in a car accident, and all of the damage was on the side of the car that I was sitting on, and I walked away without a scratch.
Oh, wow.
Like,
Wow.
yeah, no sore neck,
Yeah.
no problem with the airbag or anything. Nothing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I know that I am still being protected.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful for that. I don't say that with any hubris. I say that with complete gratitude. But I do know that the Bigfoot have always been there protecting me, and I'm very grateful for that. And since the last time we talked,
Yeah.
when I told you about the Bigfoot that you have, and I've been channeling, and I think I mentioned that to you. I've been channeling Bigfoot too, so that's been interesting as well. So,
What are they telling you?
usually they're talking to individuals, which I find even more interesting. When the males come through,
Yeah.
they speak English, but it's a little rough. Like they don't speak fluently as well as we do, but they definitely get the point across. And the females that I have channeled, they only come through me when they're giving someone a healing, and they do it in their own language.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have no idea what they're saying. I just know that they are coming through in their own language, and I am like standing next to myself watching this, going, "Well, that's interesting."
You, you should tell them, can you please repeat yourself, but in English this time? Yeah.
I don't know. I think the impression I get, and I could be wrong, but the impression I get is that she can either put the energy into translating into English, or she can put the energy into doing the healing. And she would prefer to put the energy into doing the healing because it would be too much for her to try to do both at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's the impression I get.
Do you do you come across different species of Bigfoot?
I have come across different, I want to say clans or families,
Okay.
groups, however you want to do that live in different areas
Okay, yeah.
or come and go from different areas. When I see them, it's usually with my mind's eye, and so some of them are darker colored, some of them are lighter colored, some of them are I don't know, but they are always kind and tell me what their names are. And it's weird. It's like you're interviewing me, but I'm just trying to share this information with you because I know you're interested in it.
No, I am though. You know what? Yeah, this is now me interviewing you. This
Yeah.
is how it's gonna go. Yeah, yeah.
But
No, I want to start. I might start a podcast. So
cool.
I'll definitely have to have you on, and
That'd
then
be fun.
we could repeat what we
What we
what
just
we
did.
said, right? Yeah, we could do that.
That sounds like fun. We could do that. All right, moving on from Bigfoot. Have you been working with people who are of the extraterrestrial, who have been working with the extraterrestrials, or
Yeah.
having sightings or interactions?
Yeah. I actually went to. I don't know if you're familiar with a CE5 events.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, for the audience that I'm not familiar with, a CE5 is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind.
Yes.
Um, that's when you intentionally try to summon UFOs, uh, spiritually, telepathically. It's the idea that these beings are not entirely physical, although they can be. It's the idea that they are interdimensional,
Mhm.
and you try to telepathically um, lure them. And I don't know if luring is the correct word, but
Invite? Is
invite.
it
Yeah,
is
thank
invite a
you.
better word?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. It's not as
It's,
sinister. Yeah,
it's, we're not we're not setting a trap here.
no, no, we're not trying to seduce them to come home with us. No. Yeah, it's when you're inviting them in, and kind of in your circle. So I know a woman who, actually, we both know a woman who hosts these events. So
Okay.
I went to one, just a couple months ago, and it was a lot of fun because, well, besides it was raining and I was soaked by the end, but we did the meditation circle and we tried, channeling them
Hmm.
and we meditated on it. And nothing was really happening, and actually throughout the whole night, nothing in the sky happened that was odd. But at one point, I had to use a restroom, and well, there was no restroom around, so I went behind some bushes,
Right?
and when I was done, I stepped out from the bushes, and I'm walking back to the group, and I heard two roars like
Interesting.
roars. And I know you said you're done with Bigfoot, but we're going
Yeah,
back
we're
to it.
going back
We're
there. We're
going
going
back.
back there.
We're
Well,
going
Bigfoot
back.
is interdimensional, at least that's a theory. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So I heard that, and I was like, wait, what? And then everybody else heard it too. And then they were like, we were all kind of talking amongst ourselves, like, what was that? And then it's kind of humorous because somebody was like, "Oh, well, there's probably horses in the distance." And I was already thinking it, but somebody said, "Those weren't horses. Like those were
No.
not horses. Like that was something else."
Yeah.
And then, we just kind of moved on from that, but that's what I took away from that night. That was really
Okay.
interesting.
I was
Yeah.
just going to say I've spent a lot of time around horses. I've never heard one roar.
No, no, no. I don't think horses roar.
No, no, they definitely make noises, but a roar is not one of those noises that I've ever heard a horse make.
Yeah, so that was really cool though. Like
That's cool.
I don't know what that was. It was really loud too.
Okay.
So that was
I
awesome.
I had a gentleman on the show a few episodes back, Zach Screedy, and he does CE5 gatherings in just north of Wisconsin Dells.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so he does those out there, and it was interesting because he said that they have been successful in calling some in. And I know we did one in the UP, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, for those of you who don't know what the UP is,
Like me.
like you.
I didn't know what that was, but thank you.
Yeah, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, where we did a CE5, and we did have lights appear in the sky. Some people said
Okay.
that they saw Bigfoot on the other side of the river. I did not personally see that, but I did see lights in the sky, and I did see, I don't even know how to explain it because there were no northern lights that night, but the sky changed colors, kind of.
Okay.
It was very subtle, but the sky kind of changed colors, and then went back to the dark that it was. And but yeah, we did have some success in calling some in.
Was
I
it the
know.
whole sky that changed or
Um, no, just the part where I was looking when it
okay.
wasn't just me, it was some other people too, but the direction that we were looking when we were calling in, when we were doing the meditation, which is what the CE5 is a meditation.
Yeah.
So to reach out and send out a frequency from ourselves that would invite them to come and visit. So
Okay.
um, that place has a lot of spirit already. That's where I started with channeling the Bigfoot too, was at that particular location. And we did, somebody said that they caught a picture, and I have not seen the picture, of the owner of the land was sitting there on the other side of, we had a little fire going, and she was sitting on the other side of the fire, and somebody said that they caught a being standing behind her. It was not, it was shorter though. It wasn't, it was alien, basically. It was ET.
Right. Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I've not seen the picture. I
You
forgot
know,
who
it seems
said
like
it.
it seems like the best places to do these things are in like spiritually like spiritually fused locations
Hmm.
because you get like I had that maybe that Bigfoot encounter and then you had some things there, so it's like that's the place to do stuff, or
Right.
those are the locations to do those kind of things.
I think that
So
those are the locations where it might be more obvious because there's no light pollution where we were. So, it's not
yeah,
like, I guess maybe sometimes lights in the sky could be a bunch of different things, but if there's a lot of light pollution, I think it would be easier to mistake something, make a mistake about it,
right,
or
yeah.
misread it, maybe is what I'm trying to say. But
Have you been to any like have you been to Cahokia Mounds?
no, I have not. I've been to Lizard
I
Mound.
Oh, how was that?
There's energy there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Cahokia Mounds, for those that are not familiar, is like I think it's the largest Indian mounds in Illinois, and
Okay.
it's like in central Illinois. And the idea is that there are giants that are buried underneath these mounds, um, or that the giants built, the city that was once there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's something I'm really fascinated by. The idea of giants. My a paranormal colleague of mine and I have looked into a lot of newspaper clippings that have giants, um giants in them, like excavations that have taken place that
Mm-hmm.
have unearthed these skeletons that are anywhere from 6 feet tall to 9 feet tall, sometimes even taller than that. And it seems like it was common knowledge at the time, in the 19th century, you know, um, that there was giants that once lived on Earth, and that knowledge kind of disappeared when when all the skeletons disappeared. And there's a conspiracy theory that the Smithsonian is actually behind all the disappearances
Of the skeletons.
of the skeletons because
Yeah.
the
Wow.
reasons why, we don't know, but they want to suppress history, you know.
There's a lot of that we are finding out. I don't know. I'm big on documentaries, as you know. So,
Yeah,
uh, watching a lot of documentaries, it's as archaeology is finding more and more different things, we're discovering that what we thought was our history, and even our ancient history, isn't exactly true. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's a whole lot of suppression that's taking place, you know. I mean, look at the inventor Nikola Tesla,
Hmm.
and he had these all these patents, and some of them had to do with anti-gravity devices.
Yeah.
And you
Yes.
know, you know, that knowledge has been lost now because once he died, uh, the government came in and took away a lot of the projects that he was working on, his patents, and all that stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah, that is definitely an unfortunate story. I mean, he was a little weird, but he wasn't crazy like they said he was. You know what I
right,
mean?
yeah,
Yeah. Of
yeah, yeah.
course, I think
It was a little
anybody
weird.
who's that tuned in, you're a little weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a little
Yeah,
weird and I'm okay with it. But yeah, it's,
yeah. I'm not.
no, you're not
I'm
weird?
no.
Jack, I've met you. You
Okay, but
do.
you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not the Nikola Tesla weird where he fell in
No,
love with a pigeon.
no, you're not that weird. No, neither am I.
Yeah.
I don't go to that level of weird, but um,
You know that story that
I do.
he
I do
yeah.
actually. Yeah.
For
Yeah.
for those that don't know, Nikola Tesla apparently I mean, and he wrote about this too, that he fell in love with a pigeon that would visit him all the time. And he even wrote that he loves this pigeon like a man loves a woman.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay. Just,
All right. Well, in Mr. Tesla's defense, a soul is a soul.
sure,
Sure.
sure.
We're just gonna go with that, right? Anyway. Oh my gosh. What is up next for you?
Oh, what's up next? I do have a presentation. Oh well, it'll come out before this, but it'll be in early December. I'm doing a presentation on Krampus.
Oh,
It's a Christmas
perfect.
presentation, and it is Krampus and the a lot of the Christmas characters
Okay.
and the kind of the history of that. And then I'm going to include things on the wild hunts. Now, the wild hunts is a it's this mythological motif that you see throughout various cultures.
Okay.
And it's the idea that there is a kind of a parade of souls that fly through the night sky, and they depending on the culture, they either take souls away or they give gifts, and eventually that evolves to the idea we have today of Santa Claus and the reindeer.
Okay.
So
That's
yeah,
interesting.
I'm gonna be talking about that. I have a couple ghost investigations coming up.
Cool.
Actually one by you in Brumder Mansion. That's
Really?
that's in Milwaukee, Illinois.
It's
Or
in
I'm
Milwaukee,
sorry,
Wisconsin.
Milwaukee. Yeah.
It's okay, but I'm very familiar with Brumder Mansion. I have done several investigations there.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you've gotten things there, right?
Oh, yeah. I've gotten things on camera there.
Brumden Mansion is one of the few paranormal investigations where I have gotten multiple results there.
And
Like
what,
that,
I'll ask, I'll ask later.
that place is definitely,
Yeah,
in my opinion, it's haunted. And I have no proof, but I've experienced enough there. It's a really fascinating place.
right. I have taken students there at the end of my first intuitive view course, the first of three, uh, when I was doing them in person and not online, we would go to a haunted location, and I very often used Brumder Mansion because I knew it was haunted. I knew the spirits would speak to us, and
Yeah.
so it was great. But yeah, Brumder Mansion is an incredible.
Yeah, it
haunted
is.
location. Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm gonna be going there pretty soon.
awesome.
Um, for those that are not familiar, Brumden Mansion is it well, it was built, the exact year escapes me, but I know it was the late 1800s. But what ended up happening is maybe about early, like the 1910s, 1920s, it was bought by two brothers. And the brothers were said to be associated with the mob. And so there's a ballroom, a small ballroom in the basements with a
Right.
stage.
The
Um,
theater. Yeah.
and to yeah, the theater. There's a
Yeah.
theater downstairs.
A live theater.
And so the brothers would host mobsters that would come in, and allegedly the upper floors, or at least one of the upper floors, was used as kind of a brothel. So,
Can
and
confirm,
there was
yes. And
yeah,
based on what I've
yeah.
gotten in my investigations there, yes, I confirm
Oh,
that.
I thought you meant because
Yeah.
you worked there.
No,
You
yeah,
worked
yeah,
there.
yeah, because maybe in another
That's
life. I don't know. But yeah, that I've always gotten a lot from that location. And there's one of the
yeah.
rooms that I can only get part way into that I can't get all
Oh,
the
which
way
one is that?
into. It's a bedroom on I think it's on the third floor.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the
Yeah.
one that's, yeah.
I usually sleep in the master bedroom, which is known as the George's room,
Okay.
the George room. And that's on the second floor.
Yeah.
I usually sleep there. And yeah, there was one time where I was getting ready for bed, and I'm sitting up, and I the TV isn't on anymore, and I hear like a female voice, and I can't hear what she's saying. I can't make it out, but I could hear a female voice. But it's interesting. Once I focus in on it, it disappears,
Yes.
you know?
She does that.
And it's okay, so you've heard that. Okay, yeah.
Yes, I have. I have. My first few classes, for some reason, didn't have any men in them. It was all women. So when I showed up with a class that had a man in it, uh, downstairs in the parlor, like the front room there,
Yeah.
um, the resident spirit there was like, "Why did you bring a man here?" She flat out asked me that. "Why did you bring a man here?" I'm like, "He's part of the class. He's my student." Well, I don't
Yeah.
like it.
Oh,
That's
wow.
yeah. So that was kind of interesting too. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of things from there. We had a voice recorder going on in the basement while we slept.
Uh-huh.
And then when we reviewed it later on, we were getting all sorts of sounds. Now, to be fair, you know, we think a lot of those sounds actually were probably the house settling,
Hmm.
or it was like outside noise, but there were things that were like right by the voice recorder. Um,
Okay.
like things like things hitting the wall, things kind of banging around.
Okay.
And we were like, what is that? Like it's right by the recorder. So I don't know, it's hard to say what it was, you
It's
know?
interesting. I do have a picture. I'll have to find it, but I have a picture that I took in the basement there, where in front of the bar, like close to the floor, is some very clear green uh ectoplasm.
Oh,
It showed up on a picture.
oh, okay.
Yeah. That's the only time I've ever
Well,
caught ectoplasm with a camera.
you're gonna
Was
have
there.
actually you're gonna have to show me because I'd be really interested in seeing that.
Yeah, I'll have to look for it. I'm not sure where. I was probably on a storage disk somewhere, my
Okay.
external drive or something. Who knows? But it has been a lot of fun. I can't believe we've already sat here and talked for 45 minutes. This is crazy. But
Are you serious?
yeah, yeah,
Oh
yes.
my God.
I know, right? Um,
Wow,
that went fast.
that went really fast.
Really fast, yeah.
I don't feel
So,
like I said anything.
do you offer your services like for paranormal investigations or anything like that, or are you doing it purely out of curiosity or
Both, to be honest.
okay,
I do a lot of investigations with like just like a small group of people that I know. I'm not part of a ghost group or anything like that.
okay,
I just I work with like colleagues and we'll rent out a haunted location. And I also do public ghost investigations where I
okay.
rent out the location, I open it to the public, I give a presentation on the history and the hauntings of the place, and then I could give people some ghost equipment so they can investigate on their own.
That's
Um,
awesome.
the reason why I like doing that is I really, really enjoy seeing people's reactions,
I do too.
when something happens. And, let's be fair, a lot of times when something happens, it could be rationalized and I let them know that. But like people's excitement is just really fascinating, It's like,
Yeah.
and especially when it's somebody young. Like it doesn't happen too much when like a kid is there, but like when a kid is there and they're excited, like that's awesome because it kind of reminds me of myself when I was a kid. I
Yeah.
didn't, I grew up in a time where like ghost hunting wasn't really a thing,
Yeah.
but I wish it was at the time, you know, because I was interested in ghosts.
Wow, that's
Uh,
cool.
it's a lot of fun to, try to educate people
Hmm.
on ghosts and the history of a location and tell them about people's past experiences and they really enjoy it. So, you know,
I love that. I love
yeah.
that. So how would someone get a hold of you if they wanted to find out when your investigations are? Do you post those somewhere or?
Yeah, so I run a fairly popular Facebook group called Paranormal Chicago.
Okay.
So I upload different, find articles online and I up those on there or presentations I do or upcoming ghost investigations I have. So I put those up over there and so right now I'm working on a website so that everything could be, have its own category and stuff. But right now you could find me on Facebook on Jack Chavez and or in the Facebook group. So
Paranormal Chicago.
that's right.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jack. This has been a great conversation. I very much appreciate your time. I know you have to
Yeah.
get off to a presentation, so I just want to say thank you everyone for listening, and you are listening to us on Zone 5 Radio. Have a great day and see you again soon.